guys, welcome to the Suburban Driving with Miranda. This week I've got a 2020 Subaru WRX Sport-Tech RS. There's lots to explore in this vehicle, so let's get behind the wheel and check it out. When it comes to the exterior design of the WRX, I really like it, and over the years it's changed over the generations, you know, from bug eye to blob eye to hawk eye to whatever this new eye is called, the front fascia, and over those changes people have become very upset. You know, you're loyal to your WRX or your Impreza front end that you have. Now, we had a blob eye WRX and I had a hawk eye Impreza, and I like both designs, and I quite like this new look. You know, it has all the right muscular bits and pieces without being too over the top. You know, there aren't a million edges and lines and bits and pieces. It looks racy without being too in your face, and I love that about the WRX. I never liked the big wing on the STI. I think it's too much. So the fact that WRX has that understated, you know, deck lid spoiler and the really well integrated hood scoop, they've done all the right things to the WRX to make it muscular and sporty without being too much. Here we are inside the 2020 Subaru WRX Sport-Tech RS. Now basically what the RS model does is adds the Brembo brake package on the outside. Can't see that when I'm sitting in here, but it's pretty standard Subaru WRX fare in here. I love these Recaro seats. They are so comfortable. They're pretty plushy and truthfully very hot when it's like 40 degrees out, but then most seats and cars would be in this weather. I like the simplicity of Subaru's interiors. Some people kind of lament that they are a little too rustic, that, you know, for the price of this vehicle, that it should be a little bit fancier. But you know, you get the decals at the door, you know, you get the stitching here, you got the nice little, you know, piano black finish there, fake carbon fiber. So it's got the little racing qualities. I love the stitching on the steering wheel, the ode to a flat bottom steering wheel as well, which is, you know, gives it that race performance feel, which it is a racy performance car, so why not? You've got all the buttons here on the steering wheel if you want to control your information, what digital information you can here in the gauge cluster, plus your volume, your tracks, whatever. Subaru Starlink is equipped here on the larger screen because this is the Sport-Tech RS version. It's all color, it's all touch. I'm not a huge fan of Starlink, however, it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so as soon as you plug your phone in, which I do as soon as I get into a car anyways, I deal with Apple CarPlay and I don't worry about the other systems. I also have a secondary screen up here. Normally I don't like secondary screens. I was super anti-second screens in Hondas, but that's just because there's so much information going on. Up here with this one, you can use it to track your PSI for your turbo, your G's as well if you're tracking. So it's kind of, it'll likely stay as it is, which is the clock and the date, unless you're going to track this vehicle, which for me is perfect. In terms of interior space, the back seat's really roomy. You know, these are big seats, the Recaros. They're quite thick. So if you have a longer legged front passenger, the seat's going to be a bit far back into the back seat, so you're not going to have as much legroom. However, if you're sitting behind me, as you can see, me being as vertically challenged as I am, you have plenty of room back there. There's also 3 tether points for baby seats, so it's a nice option. You can put your baby seat in the middle or on either side, or if you have 3 very young children, you can try and squeeze 3 baby seats back there. Gives me anxiety just to think about it. This is a sedan, so it's not a hatch, it's not an SUV, you have a decent amount of trunk space. Actually, I'm always very shocked at the size of Subaru's trunks. I don't know where they get the space from, it just appears when you open up the trunk. I have taken WRXs and Subaru Impreza sedans for snowboarding, for camping, for weekends away, and I have never felt that I didn't have enough room in the vehicle. For the price that this vehicle is, I think it comes really well equipped. And for me, the #1 seller on this, drive aside, because I love the way this vehicle drives, is the all-wheel drive. Once you've driven a Subaru in the winter, you'll never want to go back to another, first of all, front-wheel drive vehicle or any other type of all-wheel drive. There's something about the asymmetric 50-50 split on the Subarus that really set it apart from every other vehicle on the road, especially in the winter. Driving the 2020 Subaru WRX Sport-Tech RS. Now what does the Sportec RS actually mean about the car? It doesn't really change anything in terms of performance because you get the same engine across the WRX lineup. However, what you do get is the Brembo Sport Brake package. I absolutely love driving Subaru WRXs. Any generation, really. I have a bit of a soft spot for Subaru. My first vehicle was a Subaru Impreza. Our family car, when my son was born, was a Subaru WRX in 04-05. He came home from the hospital in it. I learned how to drive manual on a WRX, that same WRX, with a cable clutch. Let me tell you, it's a good lesson to learn. All you new drivers with your electronic clutches, you have it easy. So yeah, Subaru is kind of near and dear to my heart in that sense. Not that I'll never say anything bad about these vehicles, but I definitely enjoy them. I love the Boxer engine. I love how it sounds. You know, Subarus are instantly recognizable on the street when you hear them coming. You have that rumble. And the manual transmissions, I really like it. This is a 6-speed manual, as it should be driven. Subaru released a WRX with a CVT a few years ago, and it hurt my heart a little bit. I did drive it, and I understand why they did it. It opens up that market, and you know, you have a lot more drivers who drive automatic than they do manual. I realize it is a dying art, but it is an art nonetheless, and it should not be forgotten. And I am so happy that they still offer this vehicle with a manual. The day it disappears, I don't even want to think about it. In terms of the engine, you get the 2-liter turbocharged flat 4 typical Subaru engine. It's good for 268 horsepower and 258 pound-foot of torque. That is more than enough for this vehicle. It is fantastic on the street in everyday use. I have also tracked this car in the past, and it's heavy, truthfully, because of the all-wheel drive, but it corners beautifully. It really handles itself well. You know, the WRX, or Subarus in general, are fantastic vehicles to drive in the winter because of their all-wheel drive. Subaru is one of the only manufacturers that has asymmetrical 50-50 split all-wheel drive. It makes a massive difference in the snow. All-wheel drive isn't going to save you from ice or bad driving skills, but it will help you leave a stop more effectively. It will help you control yourself in your corners, and it will keep you much more grounded on the highway when you change lanes and that slushy stuff that gets stuck in the middle that often causes front-wheel drive vehicles to skitter around. Once you've driven an all-wheel drive vehicle like a Subaru in the winter, it is extremely hard to go back to front-wheel drive, or any other all-wheel drive car for that matter. I miss my Subaru every winter, and I get so excited when I have a Subaru press vehicle when it's snowing. So as you can see now, there is no snow. We are in the heat of the day, quite hot, and it's still just as fun to drive. You know, like I said, you've got that racy inspired feel to the Subaru, but not in an obnoxious Civic Type R way. It's got a very sophisticated feel to it, in a way. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely adore Subaru's manual transmission. It's not a, there's no crutch for this manual. I've driven vehicles before where I'll recommend that you get it as a first-time manual driver because they hold the revs a little bit longer. They don't let them drop as quickly, so you have time to catch your clutch and put your throttle down. Subaru is not like that at all. This is a driver's car. You don't get any safety net with this. You need to catch your clutch properly every time, or you will stall it. I stalled our WRX more times than I'd like to count. It was slightly embarrassing since I owned the car and I do this for a living. But again, I really like that because it makes you think and it makes you pay attention. Again, I would throw a short shifter on here. It's a bit of a long, the throws are long in the 6 gears, but it's comfortable. It fits me. I really like this car. For the price that it is, I think it comes with everything that you would want for that price tag. You know, you're getting the all-wheel drive, you're getting the performance, you're getting the engine. Everything is included. So in terms of bang for your buck, if you're looking for a vehicle that not only performs in terms of having a great drive and a great sound and that little bit of pep, you know, yeah, okay, there's turbo lag and we can talk about that till the cows come home, but that's the beauty of owning a turbocharged vehicle. If you don't like turbo lag, then find a car that has a supercharger instead. But that's also part of the charm of this vehicle, is that turbo lag, which sounds odd, but I wait for it and I like it. And you get that, you know, you suddenly hit 2,500 RPM and you get that little extra kick and you get thrown back and you're like, oh, there it is, now the turbo's kicked in. And it's part of this vehicle's charm. And so if that's what you're looking for, but you also need, you know, a good sized trunk and a back seat that can connect all of your baby seats, and you want to feel safe in the winter, here you go. You know, you don't have to have an SUV or a crossover or a pickup truck to have winter safety. You know, Subaru proved that for years, having their sedans equipped with all-wheel drive. All right, guys, well, that's it for me. As you can see, I quite like the Subaru WRX. I think it's a great family car. It's great in the winter. You can take it to the track. It really checks all the necessary boxes. So as always, you can hit me up at Miss Miranda L on Instagram and Twitter, or Miranda Lightstone on Facebook.com if you have any questions, concerns, you want to know more about the cars I've already driven, or you want to see a specific car on this video series, let me know. Thanks so much again, guys, and I will see you next week.